What's up everyone, welcome to the return of my monthly builds and deals series. I skipped last month because it was a bit chaotic with all of the new CPUs and GPUs launching, but now that those have all come and gone with the possible exception of NVIDIA's RTX 4080 and AMD's Radeon 7000 series cards, what's the situation for anyone who's looking to build a new PC? The situation for DIY PC builders is actually really good right now. You have my full endorsement to build, so I'm going to walk you through a couple builds today, a $750-ish budget build, as well as a $1,300 to $1,400 range build with the brand new Intel Core i5-13600K. Links to all this stuff is down in the video's description. Let's get started.
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by Kioxia's ever-expanding family of high-performance SSDs, featuring their latest BiCS 3D flash memory. The XG8 Client M.2 SSD is now available in capacities up to 4 terabytes, with up to 7 gigabytes per second sequential read speeds, and for enterprise or hyperscale data center use, consider the CD8, which supports PCI Express 5.0, or the XD7P, which leverages the thermal and performance benefits of the E1.S form factor, ideal for pairing with the latest AMD EPYC or Intel Xeon server hardware. For more on Kioxia SSDs, click the sponsor link in the video description. Before we get too far, a couple quick reminders. I have playlists available, also linked in the video's description, my entire how to build a PC series, as well as my video on how to set up a new PC and get Windows installed. Those videos are definitely in need of a refresher for 2023, but for now the step-by-step walkthrough is pretty much the same. Here's a quick look at the parts lists for both of my builds today. Again, all this stuff is linked in the video's description, but for AMD we have a 5600X based build, surprisingly enough, because the price on that has dropped down to $160, making it a very compelling budget offer despite being on the now last-gen AM4 platform. You can put together a really solid gaming PC with an RX 6600 for about $750. And then for anyone who is excited about the new stuff that just launched, we have an Intel Core i5-13600K based system. We also have a price drop on this CPU. It was selling for $330 after launch, but within just a few weeks it's dropped down to $300. This is one of the best CPUs for gaming right now, and it doesn't have quite as many of the downsides as like the 13900K, which is much more expensive, draws much more power, and also gets much hotter. I paired this with an RX 6800, which you can find for about $500, and this is a DDR5 build because there are notable performance improvements with DDR5 for this generation. But do note that you could assemble this system with a DDR4 motherboard and DDR4 memory, although if you ever did want to switch to DDR5, you would need to upgrade your motherboard too. To my mind right now, if you're building new, there are 3 viable platforms that you might build on. The last-gen AM4 on the AMD side, where you can find lots of good deals. Socket LGA 1700 motherboards on the Intel side, where you can find 600 series motherboards like Z690s for pretty good prices too. And then there's also the 700 series motherboards, which are new and fancy and also a bit more expensive. But speaking of a bit more expensive, the third platform is AM5, the newly launched platform from AMD. And here's where you likely have the most platform longevity. AMD just launched the AM5 platform. They just launched the 7000 series of CPUs. They say they will continue to launch CPUs on this platform through 2025 or beyond. But even the B series or budget series motherboards, the B650 and B650E boards that are available for AM5 right now are still really expensive. In fact, if we go on PC Part Picker and just look at all AM5 motherboards and sort by lowest price, the cheapest one is a $190 Micro ATX board, whereas AMD promised $125 B650 and B650E motherboards. So for the time being, for anyone on a budget, I'm just not really recommending AM5. Yes, it's an exciting platform, but I'm hoping these B series motherboard prices drop in the next few months and provide some better options for anyone who's trying not to spend $2,000. That said, let's go over each of these builds, and then I also have some deals I'll go over later on. We're going to start off with the less expensive $750-ish Ryzen 5 5600X build. Again, just a great price on the CPU considering that it originally listed for about $300, and also something that happened before if you remember last generation AMD 3000 series CPUs. The Ryzen 5 3600 was a great budget CPU, and it dropped well below $200 down to the $160 range before jumping back up when the Ryzen 5000 series launched. But for now, it seems like they're trying to clear out some inventory here, so take advantage of these low prices. Other ways I'm keeping the cost down on this build is going with the stock cooler, which is perfectly adequate, going with a very good price to performance GPU for only $210, and we're sticking with the 16 gig memory kit for now. That's 2 8 gig sticks, but upgrading this to 32 gigs would be one of the first upgrades I think I'd do to this system. Here is your verification that the 5600X is actually less than $160. They're doing some price wars on this now, and it's down to $159. That price is reflected on Newegg as well, and you actually get an AMD AMD Uncharted game bundle at the same time. I'm not sure if that's available through Amazon or if that's a Newegg exclusive thing, but if you're interested, I would definitely buy at Newegg for that. Here's the big selling point still for AM4, which is that there are inexpensive motherboards. The Gigabyte B550 Gaming XV2, which I actually have right here, isn't quite the bargain that the MSI Tomahawk B450 was, where it was 110 bucks for a while, but for $130 you're getting a board that has solid build quality all around, a couple M.2 slots for expansion, and even a USB 3.2 Gen 2 front panel port. I also dropped the MSI B550-A Pro in here, another solid B550 motherboard for the AM4 platform. This one's going for 140 bucks right now, but a very similar feature set to that Gigabyte board, so pick your poison. Our memory kit is a very not flashy Team Group T-Create Expert DDR4 3600 speed kit, and the timings are not the tightest, but they're not horrible either at CL18, 22, 22, 42. And I've shown this kit several times because it's so functional and cost effective. It's not very blingy with RGB or anything like that, but it's got a pretty low profile design. So if you do look at kits that have tighter timings or maybe RGB, just reality check with this one to make sure you're not spending too much. Likewise, you can upgrade this kit to the 32 gig version, which is only $91, so an even better price per gigabyte. Other than your CPU, your graphics card is going to have the biggest impact on performance, and specifically gaming performance. If you're buying a discrete graphics card, the RX 6600 is a really good deal at just over $200, 210 bucks for this Asus dual version here. Although I'm encountering the problem that I encounter very often when I do these deals videos, which is that it is sold out, it's out of stock. So I'll see if I can grab some other 6600s and link them in the description for you guys. But consider your upgrades from there as well. You'll get a decent bump up in performance by going with a 6600 XT, and with this promo code that's available right now, the price of this one is 250 bucks, $40 more for a decent jump up in base performance. And then if you're looking down in this range at the RX 6000 series cards, also check the 50 XT versions, because the 6650 XT I actually found to be a little bit more available than the 6600. It is again going to give you a decent little bump up in performance, and this one's only $30 more than that other one at $280. Here's the case I've chosen with. I have built with this case. It's the Fractal Design Focus 2. It's only $70, and again, this is a good example of a starting off case. You don't need to spend much more than 70 bucks to give yourself all the room you need for a full-size ATX build, and this comes with a couple fans pre-installed too, so you have some airflow right out of the gate. It's also got some nice updates versus the Focus G that I used to recommend, which is $55, in that it has an actual tempered glass side panel, as well as an updated internal layout with some additional mounts for 2.5-inch drives. Some of the best deals I've been finding recently have been on SSDs, which is actually really cool, because who doesn't need more SSDs that are faster? And what's really nice is we're getting some PCIe 4.0 drives that can do like 3,500 megabytes per second reads, and less than that on the writes. I think it's 2,800 megabytes per second writes, but a 2 terabyte, one of these drives for 140 bucks, or of course the one that I'm actually including in the build list, $70 for the 1 terabyte version is just greater all around. You can even get the 500 gig version for 38 bucks, but I feel like at this point, just go with 1 terabytes or 2 terabytes if you can afford it. Rounding things out, we're gonna need a power supply. I've got two options for you here. Look at your graphics card or the graphics card that you aspire to attain at some point if you're trying to figure out how much wattage you should go for with your power supply. 750 watts is a solid number to aim for. That should cover you all the way up to like a RTX 3080. And this Corsair CX-M is 65 bucks. It is a partially modular power supply, which means you only plug in the cables that you need, apart from the fixed ones, which you should always need. And it's 80 plus bronze rated for efficiency. If you're not planning on going for an RTX 3080 or something like that in the future though, you can often get by with 650 watts and save yourself 10 bucks or so. Rounding things out for my AM4 build, you might consider, well, Paul, if I'm building on AM4, they just launched AM5. Is AM4 a dead-end platform? And maybe, yes, sort of, but you do have upgrade options from the 5600X. You have the 5800X 3D, which was recently selling for as little as $330, but I guess that was a little too appealing and they were selling out everywhere. Back up to $400 to $450, but keep an eye out for deals on that one, because it does have gaming performance that's up there with the Ryzen 7000 series and even keeps close to the Intel 13 series. And then if you do need more raw CPU compute horsepower down the road, you have CPUs like the 5900X and the 5950X. You can bump up to a 12-core or 24-core from the 6-core 12-thread 5600X. And my other build, based on the i5 13600, down to $300, but still a bit of a price premium that you're paying for this system. It's closer to $1,400, although that is with a much more powerful and also about $300 more expensive RX 6800 versus the RX 6600. I have to say that I'm quite tickled that the 13600K has already dropped dropped in price by 30 bucks. I hope it stays dropped in price by 30 bucks because I think this puts even more pressure on AMD's 7600X, which is selling for $300 right now. And although this is a good CPU, it's not lining up very well with the Intel CPUs in terms of price to performance right now, especially when you consider the motherboard cost. I will say you should buy the 13600K on Amazon right now, where it is $300. It's still $320 on Newegg. Maybe they'll update that. Oh, guess what? And see, that's why you hit the refresh button. $300, although it's not being sold directly by Newegg for that much. But anyway, let's talk about the rest of the parts. We do need a cooler for the 13600K. It does not ship with one in the box. There's lots of options for these. This is kind of a lazy choice with the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. Don't pay more than about $30 for this. You do need a mail-in rebate card. A good $30 to $50-ish air cooler should be a great pairing with the 13600K, but there's not a lot of reviews out there comparing performance between them. So for now, this is a safe bet. Here is a big reason why I'm giving the Intel LGA 1700 platform a nod here versus AM5, because you have boards like this, the MSI Pro Z690A with DDR5 support for $190, actually $180 if you count this rebate card. Although again, I hope this sale is probably going to be over by the time you guys see this video, so I hope this price holds. Again though, this is a solid mid-range board. Look at all the fan headers on there. I appreciate that. USB 3.2 Gen 2 front panel, and you've even got not 2, not 3, but 4 M.2 slots, including this top one here with the heatsink on it. And yes, this is not a B series board, it is a Z series board, Z690, which means you're gonna have full unlocked for overclocking support for your 13600K too. Now DDR5 pricing was holding people back pretty significantly if you go back a couple months, and it's still pretty expensive compared to DDR4, but it's not as bad as it was. And in particular, if you look at the 32 gig kits versus the 16 gig kits, you get a much better price per gigabyte going with 32 gigs. So even though you're gonna have to spend about 150 bucks for a decent DDR5 5600 speed 32 gig kit, the 16 gig version of this kit is still 100 bucks, so it's not quite as appealing there. I'd say just go for 32. And then you could reduce the overall cost of this build by going with a less expensive graphics card. Of course, the less expensive graphics cards also don't perform quite as well, but consider that 6650 XT for $280. But I'll be honest, if you're investing in something like the 13600K, then you're probably interested in the single core performance and what it can do when paired with a higher end graphics card. So something like the RX 6800, which you can find for 500 bucks, is a great choice too. Yes, there are NVIDIA graphics cards out there as well, but the price to performance is just not nearly as good as what you get with AMD cards right now. For example, the RTX 3070, which should MSRP for $500, well, you can get for less than that if you count the rebate card that brings us down to $530 and then the $60 off promo code. This is actually a less than $500 RTX 3070 down to 470 bucks. Just looking at the relative performance estimations here on Tech Power Up, the 6800 is even faster than the 3070 Ti, and yes, also faster than the 3070. If you are dedicated to NVIDIA though, or you have a G-Sync monitor, or you really like the ray tracing performance, the 3070 Ti can now be found for about $600. Again, that's after a rebate card, but nice that these are MSRP at retail. And I was about to say even the mighty RTX 3080 you can get for 700 bucks, but I didn't realize this was a used card, so yeah, my bad there. I'll see if I can find an RTX 3080 that's 700 bucks. Honestly, if you're looking at NVIDIA cards, look at the secondary market. Look at used cards. You can get them for $100 to $300 less than MSRP, depending on whether or not you're willing to risk using a card that's been used for mining. All right, I talked about some graphics cards. Let's go over some extra miscellaneous deals that I have listed. Here's a nice Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro kit. If you are on a DDR4 platform, it's DDR4 3200 CAS latency 16 for $105 with nice RGB effects. I have a handful of SSDs listed down there. Honestly, this Kingston drive I feel like is still the best deal. 2 terabytes for about 140 bucks or 1 terabyte for 70, especially if you're considering those PCIe 4.0 read and write speeds. But there's a handful of others as well. The PNY CS1030. This one's a little bit slower than that Kingston drive, so I'd opt for the Kingston, but around 70 bucks for that one. Team Group's MP33, again, is not the fastest, but it's gonna be a decent step up from SATA drives. Yeah, again, here I would opt for that Kingston drive because it's pretty much the same price and it's much faster. This one's actually better, a quality Samsung 970 EVO Plus SSD. Unfortunately, the 500 gig version of this drive is gonna be 80 bucks. You can get the 1 terabyte for 110. The read and write speeds are gonna be like 3500, so the same read speed and a bit faster write and probably a bit better overall drive quality versus the Kingston drive, but is it worth an extra $40? Probably not, just buy that Kingston drive. Here's a 4 terabyte SATA SSD for $260, which is cheap for a 4 terabyte SATA drive, but look at how much the 2 terabyte version of this drive is. $95. $95 for a 2 terabyte SATA SSD. It's by a company that I've really never heard of before, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine, you guys. Rounding things out with the rest of my graphics cards, the RX 6700 XT can be had for $390 at retail, brand new. The 6750 XT can be found for $430. Brand new at retail. This is even the Power Color Devil version, which is a very nice, well-designed card. And there is that RX 6800, the OC edition in Asus Tough Trim for $500, and the cheapest I've seen this card priced for quite some time. As I've already mentioned, the NVIDIA deals just kind of suck compared to those AMD ones, but you can get an RTX 3060 for $370. That sucks. The MSRP is supposed to be $330. The RTX 3070 MSRP for $500. Again, this one is less than that, but you gotta deal with the mail-in rebate card, and not very compelling when you compare it to the RX 6800. There's that 3070 Ti for $600 after the mail-in rebate card. And there's the 3080. Don't buy a used 3080 for $700 here. Buy a used 3080 like on eBay for like $500 or $400. Rounding things out, if you want to see price histories, I recommend camel.com. If you're not familiar with it, you can see price histories on sites like Newegg and Amazon, as well as PC Part Picker, which is a great website for planning out a build and doing price comparisons. But guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I'm really happy to say that it is a very good time to build a PC right now, and we didn't immediately see a bunch of stuff disappearing, going out of stock, or immediately being jacked up in price after the launches that just recently happened, with the possible exception of the RTX 4090, but that's a $1,600 base cost card, and I'm talking about some builds that cost literally less than half of that for the entire system. So again, links to the parts I talked about today are down in the video's description, as well as some helpful links to some tutorial guides from myself on how to build a computer, how to set up a new computer. You can also find a link to my store down there, where you can help support my channel by getting yourself some high quality merchandise, t-shirts, mugs, pint glasses, beer sets, and more. Thanks again for watching, guys. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already for more tech videos coming at you real soon. We'll see you in the next one.